Sacramento Area Sewer District for Wednesday, June 17th, 2026. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll and establish a quorum?
Recording in progress.
Yes, Directors Desmond, Dickinson, Hume.
Here.
Kaplan. Here. Kennedy. Soplizio Hull.
Here.
Pluckybaum. Aquino.
Here.
Robles. Here. Rodriguez.
Here.
Sander.
Here.
Soon. Villegas.
Here.
Karpinski Costa.
Present. I promised to smile. Here it is.
Thank you. And Chair Cerna.
Here.
You have a quorum with the members that are present.
Great. Can you please read our statement?
Yes. This meeting of the Sacramento Area Sewer District is live and recorded with closed captioning. It is cablecast on Metro Cable Channel 14, the Local Government Affairs channel on the Comcast and DirecTV Uverse cable systems. It is also live streamed at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting replays Sunday, June 21st at 9 a.m. on Metro Cable Channel 14. Once posted, the recording of this meeting can be viewed on demand at youtube.com/MetroCable14. SacSewer board members are compensated $100 for their participation in board meetings. Compensation for Sacramento County supervisors and City of Sacramento and Citrus Heights council members is paid to the county and cities respectively to partially offset the cost of those governments. Compensation for the other agencies is paid directly to the individual board members. Compensation for those legislative body meetings is verbally disclosed at each board meeting in accordance with California Government Code Section 54952.3. To make an in-person public comment, please complete a speaker request form and hand it to the clerk. The chairperson will call your name when it's your turn to make a comment. You may send written comments by email to boardclerk@saccounty.gov. Your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record. This concludes your announcement, Mr. Chair.
Great. Thank you. Will you please join Supervisor Hume in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, very good. Again, I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's proceedings. We have a full agenda, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. Madam Clerk, our first item.
Mr. Chair, your first item are the Sacramento Area Sewer District consent matters to approve items 1 through 6.
Okay, any member of the Board of Directors here wish to pull an item or, okay? It's been moved and seconded. Madam Clerk, do we have any public speakers on this matter?
We do not have any public speakers for this item.
Okay, and we're doing electronic voting, are we not?
Yes, we are.
Okay, then please vote.
Your motion passes unanimously 12-0.
Very good. Next item.
Mr. Chair, the next item is comments from the public on issues not on the posted agenda. We do not have any speaker slips for this item as well.
Very good. Next item, please.
The next item is adopt the fiscal year 2026-27 final budget. Presenter Christoph Dobson, District Engineer.
Good morning, Chair and board members. This is our fiscal year 26-27 budget. We brought that forward and introduced it at the last meeting, and so this meeting we're looking for approval. I do want to highlight a couple things. First of all, $372 million operating budget and $486 million capital budget. And then those are further broken down into collection and treatment, our two different systems. I just wanted to address a few questions that came up at the last meeting. Director Cerna, Chair Cerna, asked about the new positions and whether those will be funded through any use of reserves, and just wanted to make that clear that those positions are funded through our operating revenues, not through reserves. There's a term that we use, unrestricted cash. That's really, you kind of think of it like your checking account. It's an amount that you don't want to have too much in there or too little, and so sometimes we move cash in and out, but it's not a reserve. It's not one of our reserves that are in the reserve schedule. So that was that question. Then Director Kaplan and also Roscoe started to touch on some of our chemical costs. The chemical costs are very significant. One of the biggest increases in this budget is due to chemical costs, and it's just literally the cost of our liquid chlorine increasing. And that brought us into a question about the salinity that Director Sander brought up, and I just wanted to touch on that. I will try not to geek out, do this real quick, but there was a question about the salinity, because if we generate our chlorine on site, we said that that would increase the salinity. The reason for that is just to summarize the process. It's a two-step process that you take essentially salt, sodium chloride, and you generate chlorine gas with that. The second step, you take that chlorine gas, and with other sodium compounds, you generate the liquid chlorine, which we use in our system. That's sodium hypochlorite, or as Sunny referred to it as hypo. That's what we call it, hypo. That process, in each case, because it's using sodium, it's using salts, it's generating waste salt. In the current system that we have, that's all happening off-site. We just get the chlorine, we use it. It does have some salinity to it, but not significant within our permit and everything. So by generating it on-site, we now have these two extra waste streams that have salt in them as well. They could be discharged, but that literally takes up all of our available kind of space within our permit. And of course, just from a values perspective, not really the way we would want to approach this, to add additional salt into the delta, essentially. So that's the issue with the salt. Hopefully that kind of resolves that question that you had. One change that was made to the budget, we did reduce the bond revenues on the treatment side from $150 million down to $100 million. And that was specifically to recognize the fact that we received that additional little $50 million plus dollars from our water storage investment program, the state grant funding for harvest water. So that means that when we do issue bonds to cover some of the gap in that cost, that we will be issuing less bonds. And so that's the only change there. Everything else has remained the same. And I'll open it up to any questions, and otherwise we're looking for the approval of the staff recommendation.
Thank you, Christoph. Any questions for our district engineer? Don't see any. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this matter?
Do not have any public comment for this item.
Okay, then I entertain a motion.
So move the budget.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Your motion passes unanimously, 12-0.
Very good. Next item, please.
Mr. Chair, the next item is award of contract for the secondary sedimentation tanks 10 and 16 rehabilitation project. Request for bid number 8529. Presenter Sunny Lundy.
Chair, we actually need to address item 9, which is the ordinance.
I'm sorry. Number 9 is adopt proposed collection system, sewer impact fee, and liquid waste hauler disposal charge adjustments and amendments to the Sacramento Area Sewer District Ordinance. Presenter Mike Hewitt, Director of Policy and Planning. My apologies.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair, members of the board. I'm missing a mic over here, so it looks like I'm getting too close to Christoph. That's why.
You've been relegated to backup singer today.
So at our last meeting on May 27th, staff introduced the ordinance amendments for SacSewer. Your board approved the recommended actions. Key highlights, one of them, probably the main accomplishment, is consolidating 2 ordinances into one. It's kind of a big deal. We had a treatment ordinance and a collections ordinance, and now we have one ordinance for SacSewer. And that's cleaner for staff. It's one reference document for staff and also for the public. We also updated our impact fees for industrial customers on our collection side, so now that they're consistent with our residential commercial. And then we also lowered the liquid waste hauler rates, so that provides an incentive for them to bring the waste down to the treatment plant. The environmental review is complete. The amendments were determined to be exempt from CEQA, and those are attachment C in your board package. Since introducing the amendments on May 27th, there's been a lot of outreach done. There's been summaries of the proposed amendments were published by the Daily Recorder. Notification letters were sent out to interested stakeholders, and we received no comments. And then full versions of the proposed ordinance were posted online. And Metro Cable aired the announcements of today's public hearing. So if the ordinance amendments are adopted today, we will send out notification letters to our stakeholders, and then we'll publish legal summaries in the Daily Recorder within 15 days as required by government code, and then we'll post the adopted ordinance online. So our recommendation is to adopt amendments made to SacSewer's ordinance, which will become effective on July 17th of this year, 30 days after adoption, and then recognize the exempt status for CEQA, the requirements for the proposed changes. So with that, I'll turn over the chair to hold and close the public meeting, and then go through the adoption and approval process.
Very good. Thank you, Mike. Any questions for staff? All right, seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, any members of the public sign up to speak?
We do not have any public comment.
I will close the public hearing, bring it back for a motion.
I'll move for approval.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been moved and second. Please vote.
Your motion passes unanimously, 13-0.
Very good. Next item, please.
Your next item is item 10, award of contract for the secondary sedimentation tanks 10 and 16 rehabilitation project, request for bid number 8529. Now presenter Sunny Lundy, Director of Echo Water Operations.
Good morning, Chair, Board of Directors. Excuse me. SacSewer is seeking board approval to award a contract for the rehabilitation of two secondary sediment tanks at the Echo Water facility. Swearstock Enterprise Incorporated is identified as the lowest responsive bidder at $3,448,000. Despite a formal protest from Eurostyle Management alleging lack of experience, staff and council deemed the protest meritless and recommend that your board award to the lowest responsible bidder.
Very good. That concludes your staff report?
Yes.
All right, very good. Any questions for staff from directors? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk, anyone sign up to speak on this matter?
Yes, we do. We have Mr. Anthanosis Kasuris.
Okay. If
Mr. Anthanosis, please approach the podium. You have 2 minutes to make your public comment.
Seeing as we have limited public speakers, I'm going to grant you 3 minutes here.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Good morning, Chair and board members. My name is Athanasios Koussouris, and I'm with Eurostyle Management. This protest is not about whether Pro Builders is a good contractor. We have never argued that Pro Builders has integrity, capacity, and the ability to complete projects. The issue before you, board members, is much narrower. The issue is whether the requirements contained in the bid documents apply equally to every bidder. The request for bid required contractors to demonstrate work similar in magnitude and character, and to demonstrate experience providing the same services to municipal and/or public wastewater treatment facilities. Those requirements are material, and if they are, then they must be enforced equally. If they're not material, then the bidder should have been informed before the bid. County Council's memo acknowledges that many of the references relied upon by SphereTech Pro Builders are schools, state parks, transit districts, community colleges. Those entities are public agencies, but they are not wastewater treatment facilities. The specification did not say public agencies. It said municipal and/or public wastewater treatment facilities. Likewise, Appendix G required work similar in magnitude and character. Magnitude must mean something. If a project that is a fraction of the size and complexity of this wastewater rehabilitation project is deemed equivalent, then the magnitude requirement has no meaning. The district's position today is essentially that it already knows pro builders and therefore can rely upon its general experience and reputation rather than the specific requirements contained in Appendices G and H. Our concern is that this changes the rules after bid opening. Public bidding laws exist to ensure that every bidder competes under the same standards. The question is not whether the district believes pro builders can perform the work. The question is whether the bid submitted demonstrates compliance with the qualifications that were required of all bidders at the time of bid. Eurostyle Management respectfully requests that the board enforce the bid requirements as written and determine that the apparent low bidder is non-responsive. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Don't go away yet. Director Hume.
Thank you, Chair. My question is actually for staff. Can you respond to the point made about magnitude, if that was a qualification of the bid?
Yes.
You can go ahead and have a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, the minimum requirements in the contractor did list minimum experience requirements, but it was listed as in order of magnitude and character, and the magnitude of the projects that they submitted on were near the magnitude of the requirements. They did represent and it demonstrated that they could do this type of work of similar magnitude and character.
So then, as was just mentioned, it wasn't a familiarity with the contract that carried the day. They did demonstrate that they performed similar work.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other questions for staff? Okay. Madam Clerk, we have no other speakers on the matter, correct?
No other speakers.
All right, very good. Oh, sorry, Director Dickinson.
Thanks. Good time, but I just wondered if
Your mic's not working.
Thank you. I just wondered if council had any comment on the same issue raised by the speaker.
The same issue brought up
Yep, right.
just now? Okay. I don't. I think my memo speaks for itself. They are absolutely responsive in their bid. Their past experience with SacSewer has nothing to do with the fact that we found their bid responsive for this RFP. They have the requisite experience, and they also have the requisite past experience providing work to public entities and wastewater facilities. So we did not find anything wrong with the face of their bid.
Okay, any other directors have questions? If not, entertain a motion.
I will move to approve the item.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Been moved and second. Please vote.
Director Villegas, you supposed to vote?
Oh, he departed.
Okay. Your motion passes unanimously, 12 with member Villegas not voting.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Your next item is item 11, discuss potential improvements to address quorum issues for the Sacramento Area Sewer District Board of Directors meetings.
I'm particularly interested in this one.
Well, yeah, we were thinking of the irony if we didn't get quorum today.
Not to mention the fact that it would throw our budget into chaos.
Yes. So what I've done, I've laid out basically 4 kind of areas to look at, kind of ranging from very small things up to maybe larger scale. What I like to do is walk through them. I'll give you a little introduction of the topic, If you have questions or comments, feel free to jump in. At the end of that, and maybe collectively throughout this, what we're trying to get is some input for staff so that we can go back, and if there are any recommendations that we need to bring back to the board, we would do that. So that's the approach.
Before you dive into the weeds here, Christoph, maybe it's useful to briefly explain the fact that we have members of boards of supervisors up here, both from Sacramento and Yolo. The entirety of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors are members of this board of directors by default per their principal seat at the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors. But that's not the case for some of the other members, correct?
Correct.
So that's what we would call kind of an own ranks appointment. In other words, the home governing body deliberates and appoints representatives from those bodies. So it's not the entirety of, for instance, the city of West Sacramento City Council. It's a smaller contingent from that governing body, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And that also introduces another challenge, which is that the Board of Supervisors does not have any alternates because there are only 5 of them.
Right.
That's the way legislation is written, whereas the cities at least can have an alternate.
That's a good point. Thank you.
All right, so just first, briefly on communication, we're redoubling our efforts to make sure we have correct contact information. In fact, if any of you would be willing to give Sunny Kenner, my secretary, your cell phone, that would be helpful. I have several of them, but I don't have all of them. Any way that we can just get positive contact, because one of the challenges is just not knowing whether someone is going to be here or not. So anything there would help. And again, we're redoubling our efforts to make sure we have the correct contact information. The other thing is just you or your staff, if you have staff, if you can, before each board meeting, just check in and let us know. I can't make it. I understand you all have a lot of conflicts, but then if you could let us know so we have that information. So that's about it on communications, not really any big recommendations. We're just going to work harder on it.
And I assume, Christoph, you would even be open to receiving, if necessary, a late night text.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
I won't see it till the next morning. But
well, then you'll really scramble.
Depends how late night it is, I guess. All right, so next topic is meeting location. One of the challenges of this chambers is that there are a lot of other things happening in this boardroom. So we have a difficult time ever moving to somewhere that might be more convenient or better for your board. This is 17 members. That's hard to find a time that everyone is available, but it definitely reduces the flexibility, especially right now. Like today, this is a special meeting. It's the 3rd Wednesday, not the 2nd or 4th. That's because county budget hearings were taking over that time frame. So we already have to scramble a little bit just to get our standard time slot. So having an alternate location is definitely an option. We've done a couple meetings. We've had a couple at the Echo Water Facility. We've had at least one at Gady. We could, if nothing else, look into the logistics involved in setting up a more permanent. So if we have a permanent location there, the challenge with, let's say, Gady right now is if we said, well, could we have a special meeting there in 2 weeks from today? It takes a lot for Metro Cable. It's a giant effort to get that set up. We're looking out a year to figure out a good date to do that. But if we had it set up so that it was standardized and ready to go, then it would be a more flexible alternate location or permanent location. So there's alternate location and potentially permanent location.
Christoph, can you remind us, do we have anything that's semi-permanent in terms of, or a general understanding about how many meetings we would have in a year, a fiscal or calendar, at the plant? I know that it feels like we have one a year at the plant.
That just feels like it. Like I said, my recollections, we've had a couple over several years. So,
and that's also a heavy lift for Metro Cable, right?
Yes, Absolutely. It's all heavy lift, and that's the thing is if we were to do this, we would be looking at what would it take to get more permanent facilities there. The Gady location was originally planned, the community room there was planned to be an alternate location, so it's kind of set up, but obviously their work would need to be done to make it more permanent.
Okay.
So that's meeting location. Any more questions or comments on that? Okay.
Director Dickinson.
Thanks, Chair. I wanted to make just a couple comments before I leave for my next board meeting. First of all, with respect to the board composition, if there's interest in looking at that, I would just make a suggestion of a working group, a smaller set of this board. It's a little difficult to have these kinds of, having been through this a few times, have these discussions with the full complement. So that's
Like a committee?
Yeah, like an ad hoc committee to consider any changes in membership. And with respect to meeting location, I just would note that historically Metro Cable had covered the cost of other locations. That's not going to continue. In fact, it's in transition now, I think, as most of the members of this board know, because the cable revenues are declining. So they may already be charging the district for meetings. I'm not sure, but if they're not, they will be. And it's going to cost more to go to any location other than here, where it's already set up here, the city council chambers, Sacramento City Council chambers. So there'll be a cost element to going to other locations as well. And just from a personal perspective, I'd rather see us avoid those kinds of costs if we can do it. There's enough pressure on the district to try to keep costs down with everything that's going on. So and everything that will be going on in the future. So maybe it's a small item, but nonetheless, where we can save some money, I think that ought to be a consideration. Thank you, Chair.
Director Hume.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I appreciate the comments made by Director Dickinson. I agree with them wholeheartedly. I don't think the district should be spending money trying to duplicate something that already exists, which is a location that can be recorded and has all the technology in place. Furthermore, given that we all come from different geographies within the region, this is a fairly convenient location, and I'm not speaking just for myself. I mean, obviously, I like being able to walk downstairs, but I think you have people coming from the west, coming from the east, coming from the south, and from the north. And so I think if we're looking at making life easier, at least for me, and I think I've told you this, Christoph, is I'm chair of a conservancy that meets one Wednesday that conflicts with this board. And so I think we ought to be looking for a different time slot if we need to find something that works for people better than the time we've been using, rather than looking for a different location. That would be my suggestion.
That looking at a different time slot, I don't necessarily disagree with. I think it's going to be a fairly narrow set of options. And if you really wanted to expand it, you'd probably have to start looking at Fridays. And so I don't know how directors feel about Fridays. That's what I thought. Christoph, did you want to move on to the next part of your presentation, or was that the conclusion of it?
Yeah, we got. So I don't have anything else on that topic.
Okay.
Yeah. So the last topic specific to the quorum issue is around governance, and we've started to nibble around the edges of that already. We have a 17-member board. Currently, there are 2 vacancies within the city of Sacramento. Back in the day when we went from a 1 representative per city to a population-based, that was there was a fair amount of effort put into figuring out what that is. Currently, City of Sacramento has 5 members based on population. there are thresholds that continue to increase. So there's actually, we're looking at it, the population's not all that far off from the city getting a 6th member. I think Elk Grove is still a ways away from a 3rd, but over time it's going to continue to grow. So one thing to consider is to look at that governance. That's a bigger thing that would require legislation. We have to go in and change our legislation. I happen to have a meeting set up this afternoon with Mayor McCarty to talk about the 2 vacancies, because that puts us down to right off the bat, which makes it a challenge to get the quorum. But these are some of the issues that could be that we could change. We could, for example, have a tiered system where you have either 1 member, 2 members, or 3 members, regardless of how, if your population continues to grow. That would at least sort of capture the or limit the size to getting larger. We also talked a little bit about if we were to do something like that legislative, we would also want to address new members coming in, which aren't addressed right now, and we talk about that just because of our service on a contract basis up to Sutter County is something that, when it was discussed way back when we set up those agreements, there was discussion of the potential for them to ultimately be annexed in, and then obviously they'd be on our board. So that was kind of a side. It's not really related to the quorum, but gets to, if we were to make some governance changes, we'd want to do it all at once, or at least set up the possibility. So we could make general language to address something like that where a new entity came in. So that's some of the thoughts on governance.
Any response to the suggestion made by Director Dickinson in terms of an ad hoc committee that would be set up to further vet this?
Yeah, I think that's a good approach to take. We could look at really we could look at the mix of all of the topics here, and in a smaller setting.
Okay. Before I get to Director Desmond, I just want to ask Diane. I assume we can't take action today to set up that committee. We'd have to agendize that at the next regularly scheduled meeting. Director Desmond.
Okay. Well, that answered my question. I am supportive of the committee structure and nominating Councilmember Dickinson as the chair, of course.
And ironically, he's not there. Director Karpinski-Costa.
I'm just not in favor of another committee that we can't get a quorum for this one. It seems to me you would want to request the people who have been consistently absent of why and see what the issue is and fix those issues. Because I'm speaking as a person who's never missed a meeting. So, if you want to move a day, maybe that's more convenient. And I'm not sure why they're not here. And I don't know that a committee can make them come if they have a problem with getting here. Although the 2 extra vacancies do kind of lend themselves to a solution of sorts. But I don't know that a committee is going to get any better. So find out if there's conflicting meetings and why people are missing.
Well, I think your point is well taken. I think there's enough time before anything might be agendized in terms of an ad hoc committee for maybe our district engineer working with his staff to maybe drill down on that particular issue. And I think that starts today with a meeting with the mayor that you mentioned. Director Aquino.
Just curious, do board members and alternates have to be elected officials, or could, for example, the city of Sacramento appoint a non-elected resident to be an alternate or something?
We were hoping that was the case, and we're thinking that, but no, they do have to be elected officials. And again, it's the way, so this is the way the legislation is written. It could be changed, we could change that to allow for, say, a high-level staff person to be an alternate, but that's not the case right now.
Like a chief of staff?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, this is not an action item today. This is just a discussion. What I think I'd like to see happen is maybe you and I can talk offline after you have your meeting with the mayor, kind of see where we think that's going. I don't want to ignore what Director Karpinski-Costa has referenced, because I too am I get a nervous twitch when I hear committees suggestions, but that may be the fairest way to move forward on this. But again, I think from a practical standpoint, at least as it relates to the balance of the year, it would be extraordinarily helpful, I think, if appointments could be made post haste from from the mayor to fill those 2 vacant positions. I can name a couple of instances where if we had those vacancies filled, we wouldn't probably be having this discussion. So I think let's cross that bridge first.
Yeah, I think it really is a combination of all of these things, including addressing why people aren't getting to the meeting. But I think it would, my opinion is it would be helpful to have that. I'm twitching too, but that ad hoc committee to discuss those issues.
Is that a course of action that directors are generally agreeable? Okay, I'm seeing nodding heads. Okay, very good. Any public speakers on this matter, Madam Clerk?
We do not have any public comment for this item.
Okay, again, non-action item, so we'll move on to item 12.
Mr. Chair, item 12 is Harvest Water Quarterly Report for January 1 through March 31st. Presenters Joe Phil Borja, Environmental, Legislative, and Regulatory Affairs Manager, and Mike Crooks, Deputy Director of Echo Water Operations.
I think this is okay.
Do you need it?
Thanks.
Is that okay?
Good morning, Chair Cerna, members of the board. My name is Mike Crooks. I'm the Harvest Water Capital Program Manager. The clicker. So these are the items that we're going to cover in this brief presentation. I'm going to take the first couple bullets, the capital program updates, and then also more specifically our capital program financials. And then Joe Phil will jump in and he'll cover the administrative program updates, total program funding, and then upcoming board actions. So starting with the capital program, this is one of my favorite maps. This is a map that we use to track our pipeline construction.
And Mr. Humes as well.
And so the green color indicates basically all contract work on the pipeline construction projects is complete. They are still out there addressing defective areas, punch list items, but the contract work is done, including the final paving and surfacing of the streets. And so it's a really nice feeling to be at this point in time. The projects, what's still going hot and heavy right now, the pumping station. The contractor is really making good progress. What you see here are the 2 different main components of the station. On the left is the actual where the pumps are going to go and the discharge pipes, making good progress there, and then same with the control building. One area where they have been challenged recently with respect to schedule is the fabrication of the actual pumps. These are really big, complicated pumps. Their schedule for delivery continues to slip for various reasons. Right now, contractors expecting to see them in November. They still plan to start commissioning of this pumping station in early 2027 and then be complete by May of 27 and delivering water. So we're hopeful that the pumps will no longer continue to slip and can stick on the November timeframe. Road construction. This is a shot of final surfacing in the city of Elk Grove on Franklin Boulevard. This, I think, is Laguna, the intersection with Laguna. Anyway, so this work, the final surfacing started at the beginning of June. That work is now done. They've been very active on striping since then. This shot here shows the striping that's been completed. They've completed all the striping as of Saturday of last weekend. The striping that we put down, the design for it was provided to us by the city of Elk Grove, so this is a change compared to what was there originally. And so just further collaboration and working with the city on this particular project. In the South County area, this was kind of a cool shot. The roads are done and available for use by the residents and the growers and the farmers down there. Kind of a common occurrence. This happens more frequently than I would have expected. Pretty much every time you go down there, you see equipment like this being moved around. So kind of a cool shot. This is at Twin Cities in Franklin. The other project that is active in construction is the on-farm connection assemblies. This is being done through 2 different phases or 2 different contracts. First phase started construction work last year in September, has 56 sites. Contractor is Ranger Pipelines. They expect to be complete, in early 2027. Phase 2, we just awarded this contract at the board meeting on May 27, ended up being the same contractor, which offers some benefits. This contract has 35 sites, less than we were hoping, but those are the numbers that we managed to attain through agreements with the growers. We're still pursuing people who haven't signed up yet, so there's a chance that we may see some additions to this, but right now that's what we're working with. This is a shot of actual on-farm connection assembly construction in progress. This is phase 1. So they're actually starting to do quite a bit of above-ground work. And so, again, this contractor is making really good progress, and phase 2 should get going in July, August timeframe. Construction budget. Currently, our budget is, for construction only, $323.4 million. As of the end of Q1, we spent almost $250 million. The table below represents all the contracts that have been awarded, their original bid price, approved change orders, and then also a projection of where we think they're going to finish with respect to change orders. And based on this information, we're projecting a 6.9% change order rate for covering all the projects. So combine that with the original bid price, we're looking at completing somewhere around $310 million spent on construction. So that's quite a bit less than our budget, which is $323. A lot of that is because we didn't get the number of on-farm connections signed up that we had hoped and formed the basis of our budget. And so if we do get more signed up, then these numbers will increase. That's all I have, unless you have any questions for me before Joe Phil jumps in.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right. I don't see any. Thank you. Non-action item, correct? Oh, okay.
Good morning.
The second half.
All right. Second and exciting half. Well, he has a pretty exciting half too. So thank you, Mr. Crooks. Good morning, Chair Serna and members of the board. Joe Borja. I'm the manager over at the APMO program and here to provide to you our updates and highlights of the last quarter. Our outreach, partnerships, and engagement continues. We continue to have one-on-one meetings with key stakeholders, and our Phase 2 OFCA agreements and easement meetings also continue to be in the community. Our continued eco-plan development had some recent successes in the last quarter with the new Crane Forge field trial that began in Q1. We also continue to have our meetings with both the California Water Commission and the California Department of Fish and Wildlife on the potential expansion of ecological benefits. On a side note, as we're speaking right now, the California Water Commission is actually reviewing a potential request of our partners over in the north, the SITES project, at a significant request of their WISIP program. And so we have staff right now that's not in this meeting that's actually vigilantly watching to see how that conversation goes and what opportunities we may have post-decision making for the SITES project on the remaining funds for the WISIP program. Multiple landowners continue to express interest in our riparian and wetland improvements, and we continue to explore additional site assessments and conducting them in the properties. The pictures that you see there at the very top is our GPS surveying of our staff, looking at the elevations at both riparian and wetland fields. The second picture on the bottom left is an infiltrometer. It's actually looking at the assessment at our Spencer Crane field trial to see how much of the water is seeping, what kind of minerals and nutrients are seeping into the water, because as you know, you're familiar with, we're going to be inundating certain fields for both crane foraging and crane roosting. And so we want to be able to look at the health of the soil data for that. And the picture in the third is an air gap, again, at the crane pilot implementation. We continue to push for a recycled water service agreement, even though we've, as Mr. Crooks had mentioned, have surpassed a comfortable number of our OFCAs. We are hitting our delivery goal that is required by our CAPBs at 32,500 acre-feet per year. Our demand goals at 39,000 acre-feet per year. At phase 1, like Mr. Crooks had mentioned, we've had 56 OFCAs, which again got us to about 66% of that demand. Our phase 2, an additional 28 OFCAs were secured that added 9,000 acre-feet of estimated demands that now brings us to that very safe number, that dark blue number of 94% of our delivery goal, which is what is required to us contractually with our CAPVs. But again, we want to be able to have that buffer to making sure that we have enough water to equitably deliver throughout the hot days of the summer when it's needed, and that's sitting at 78%. Now, we are anticipating 7 additional OFGAs that would push us to above that requirement by the state and really get us very close to our demand goal. The map on your right shows us where the Phase 1 OFGAs and the Phase 2 OFGAs are there. And of course, we're striving to make sure that we have equitable geographic delivery of the water because, as you know, water does not just stay in one area, it ebbs and flows at this location. Wanted to highlight our participation at the California Water Commission. Staff presented on February 18th, as required by the California Water Commission, about the annual improvements in any annual reporting with our project. We provided the reports on our progress, requested our inflationary adjustment, and shared conceptual mechanisms as to how we are going to be providing expanded benefits for new habitats and species on extra dollars that made possible by both Proposition 4 and projects that exited Proposition 1. I would like to extend our sincere thanks to Director Hume, Commissioner Flores, Ken Oneto, who's also leading our Ag Advisory Committee, and members of the Friends of the Stone Lake, who joined staff on our April 15th Advocacy Day, where we actually presented, or was requested by the California Water Commission when they made the decision to, again, approve an additional $52.1 million of supplemental funding for inflationary adjustment, bringing a very significant boost to our program. So thank you, Director Yu. That brings us to program funding. WSIP is the lion's share of our grants, and to date, we are just a hair shy of $417 million awarded from the WSIP program. We've submitted invoices through work as of September 2025, and the district has received checks amounting to about $184.2 million up to date. We continue to working with the Water Commission staff to execute a grant agreement update or an amendment for the additional funds that were awarded earlier this year. We are excited that we continue to have additional grants in process. So we have the federal wind grant that is $30 million that we anticipate reimbursement of funding in FY 26 and 27. We are very also excited with the state water grant at Phase 1 of $15 million, and we do anticipate a grant execution later this year. Thanks to Congresswoman Matsui, we were able to receive a federal USDA grant of another $1 million that we continue to coordinate with the USDA to identify both the eligible costs and also executing the grant agreement. And hopefully, by this summer, crossing my fingers and toes, that we continue to bring you another amount that's between $5 to $15 million as part of the state WRFP program. The staff anticipates that they're going to be providing a revised intended use plan this summer that could potentially include an amount of between $5 to $15 million that's anticipated for the large-scale grants that was made possible by Proposition 4. And we continue to receive consultative questions with the Wildlife Conservation Board grant application that we've submitted with the Wildlife Conservation Board that is valued up to $1.7 million for both riparian enhancements and habitat protections along the Cosumnes River. Brings our Harvest Water Program budget through Q1 of 2026. Again, we continue to be at $597.2 million. Our total expenditures is at $332.6. Our APMO budget stays at $120 million with costs accumulated at $19.4. The CPMO budget is at $477.2, and they have spent $313.2 million. And the blue and the red is the split with both the program total, what is being remaining and what's being spent. So this is a chart that essentially shows you a snapshot of all of the program anticipated funding. And I'd like to point to you at the bottom of the screen where Harvest Water, through the hard work of staff and in partnership with our board and our elected officials and community members, have gotten us to about 80% grant funding for this program. And we are not done yet. We are excited to continue closing that gap, shrinking the potential avenues and really looking at opportunities for us to be able to get one step closer for having this a fully funded project that is outside of just SacSewer's financials. And we're very excited to continue that. upcoming board actions. So additional CPMO consultant amendments for services during construction. We're going to be doing a resolution of necessity to acquire pipeline and OFCA easements through a friendly condemnation in July 2026. And we continue to make improvements on the eco-plan procurement activities that would be needed to implement the benefits as we look forward to having to turn on the water in 2027. This slide's just for questions, but again, thank you so much for your advocacy, your support for this program, and Mr. Crooks and I are happy to answer any questions or hear any of your feedback.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, sir.
And thanks, Mike. Any questions for our presenters? Don't see any. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this matter?
We do not have any public comment for this item.
Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Next item.
Next item is miscellaneous district engineers matters. Presenter Christoph Dobson, District Engineer.
All right. This is an item that I started a while back, just introducing our section managers. I haven't done one in a while because we went through the backlog of the section managers, but we have a couple of new ones. And so I would like first to introduce Pat Flaherty. He is our risk manager. Pat recently joined SacSewer in December after 20 years as the risk manager for the city of Sacramento. Overseeing that risk management program, including budget, insurance, liability, workers' comp, and safety.
Does Pat want to stand so we know who Pat is? Thank you.
There we go. There's Pat. I told them they did not have to speak. So he also spent 5 years in the same role for the city of Bakersfield and 10 years as a risk and safety manager for the Perrier Group. Perrier is a division of Nestle and owned most of the large water companies in the U.S., including Arrowhead, Calistoga, and Poland Spring. So I learned something new when I read this as well. He's also been a longstanding member of the PRISM Claims Committee, which approves large liability and workers' comp claim settlements for the organization. PRISM is the risk-sharing pool where SacSewer and many public entities in California purchase their insurance. Pat has a Bachelor of Science in Political Science from the University of Oregon, go Ducks, and a Master's of Public Administration from Cal State Bakersfield, go Roadrunners. As you might expect, Pat also has numerous insurance designations. We're very fortunate to have Pat on board to help SacSewer build a best-of-class risk management program. No pressure at all, and welcome, Pat. All right, our second one is Christopher Borders. Over there. Chris is the Human Resources Manager for SacSewer, where he oversees all HR programs and serves as the lead advisor on employee and labor relations, recruitment, classification, compensation, performance management, and compliance. He brings more than 15 years of public sector HR experience, including progressively senior HR roles with the County of Sacramento. There, he ultimately served as a principal human resources analyst, supporting multiple departments, including SacSewer as one of his clients at the time, on complex disciplinary matters and investigations, and served as a lead for the Equal Employment Opportunity Office and the employee relations staff. He's also served as human resource manager for the Sacramento Superior Court and held HR roles at California State Library, State Personnel Board, and the Fair Oaks Rec and Park District. Sacramento native, Chris holds a bachelor's degree in business administration from Sac State. That's, I guess, Stingers Up, right? Stingers Up. Okay. With a focus on human resources and organizational behavior. He's also a graduate of Sacramento County's Leadership Development Academy and is an Association of Workplace Investigations certificate holder. Outside of work, Chris enjoys concerts, Broadway musicals, and predicting the Academy Award nominee each year. What is your record? Okay. So it gets even more interesting. He's also a dedicated pro wrestling fan who is confident he could explain HR policy through wrestling analogies, though he hopes never to be asked to demonstrate that particular skill. Chris is also a committed puzzle enthusiast and has completed every New York Times daily crossword puzzle since 2011. He has auditioned for Jeopardy 5 times and is cautiously optimistic that the new pop culture Jeopardy might finally be his moment. Chris brings curiosity, balance, and a love of good trivia to every team he supports. He hopes His experience, humor, and people-centered approach will contribute to a workplace culture where SacSewer employees feel supported, understood, and able to do their best work. Welcome, Chris. And I don't have anything else. Our next board meeting is the first meeting in July.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Any questions for our district engineer? All right, seeing none. Last item on today's agenda, miscellaneous board member matters. Any matters this board would like to bring up? Seeing none. I believe then, Madam Clerk, that concludes today's board meeting, does it not?
Yes, it does.
All right, very good. If there's no further business, we stand adjourned.